Thanks to streaming, I think we might be getting the return of great romantic comedies. Hey y'all, today I am here to review I Want You Back, Amazon Prime's newest romantic comedy. And this is one that I don't want to open, come straight out the gates and say like, oh, this is the greatest rom-com in modern history. But I cannot help but admit to you, I think this is the first great romantic comedy of the 2020s, and let me tell you why. I Want You Back follows Emma and Peter, who, after getting their hearts broken by the loves of their lives, hatch a plan to break up their now exes with their new partners in a modern day, way less sexy Cruel Intentions plot. And the hijinks, charades, jokes, and humor and comedy in this film is absolutely fantastic. I was invited to a press conference for this film, and if you want to get all of the review of that, you can go to my website, Assembled Press, and see what I've written up there for that. The press conference involved the director, Jason Orley, the writers, Isaac Aptaker and Elizabeth Berger, as well as the entire main cast. So there's 6 actors and actresses who are like at the forefront of this film, with the 2 leads being Jenny Slate as Emma and Charlie Day as Peter. And they are like the perfect and most unlikely romantic comedy leads that I think I've ever seen. I have a lot of explaining to do, I know, with this and justifying it, but getting to hear from them at the press conference, there's a lot that both informed my thoughts here that just made the film even better to me, as well as getting to hear that they had a lot of fun filming this movie, because I think there's nothing better than getting to see that a cast and crew really liked working together, had a good time, and I think you can see the fruits of that friendship and enjoyment of working together in the final product of this film. So I just wanted to get all of that out of the way. The one thing that I think this film makes it a success as a rom-com is that it looked up to the greats. In the press conference, when Harry Met Sally was brought up, I kid you not, more than a dozen times. Like almost every single person on the panel brought up When Harry Met Sally as either a source of inspiration, obviously one of the greatest romantic comedies of all time, just a well-written movie. And I think what makes a film a success is when it's in a specific genre, it knows exactly what it is, and it looks to whatever is the current greatest in that genre and strives to be not a replica of it, but sees and really analyzes what that film does well. There are so many romantic comedies that have come out in the last 10 years from the early 2010s on that very much just wanted to stuff a film of a basic story with a couple of interconnecting romantic through lines with jokes and with stars that would then make a studio a lot of money and ultimately try to use every little recognizable star and try to get appeal that way, rather than being an overall good concept. And this film, although almost everyone in the main cast is someone that I am a fan of personally and have been a longtime fan of, I can't help but feel like this film does put that premise first, and a lot of what the 2 writers, Elizabeth Berger and Isaac Aptaker, who you may know as the writers of Love, Simon, or as the co-showrunners of my favorite show, This Is Us. This was just a match made in heaven to me, this movie. Just, I loved it. They really talked about how they felt like if this movie was funny, then the romantic stuff could come second. And while that sounds counterintuitive for a romantic comedy, a movie that is obviously central on its romantic plot and being released around Valentine's Day, that's a kind of a bold choice and a bold way to approach making a movie. But I think it really pays off for the best in this film, because you really do get to feel like every scene is funny and serves a purpose without just being jokes. It's both a slow burn and whirlwind romances all at once. And if you've seen films like Crazy Stupid Love, I can't not bring that movie up.
But I can't guarantee that you won't not regret it.
That's a double negative.
You're a double negative.
Well, this movie is not better than Crazy Stupid Love. This movie obviously is made in a very similar vein of making an interesting premise and good story, and then using comedy and romance to tell that story, rather than stuffing in a romantic scene here or a random joke here. Like, everything really serves this movie, and obviously that sounds like such a obvious statement, like sure, we got that, obviously. It really is something that I think a lot of people making genre films today ignore. They just go with tropes and cliches, and this movie tries to do something different. I think in a lot of ways it also kind of subverts romantic comedy tropes, but it doesn't do it in a way that's like, what are all the tropes of a romantic comedy? Let's subvert them. It just does everything in a way that feels natural, and a lot of that I think stems from the main subplots of this film, which, like When Harry Met Sally, this film has some really, really great subplots. But the overarching theme of this film, beyond love and wanting to be in a romantic relationship that feels right, is figuring out yourself. And I think that's where this film is going to appeal to a lot of 20 and 30 somethings. Obviously, the general demographic of this movie, the target audience, because that's who the stars are, that's who the writer's age is, and that's what the director's age is. So it's very well made and crafted for those people. And this movie really tries to focus on what is your purpose in life? Where do you want to be? How do you see yourself? How do you get your life on track or figure it all out? And it does that in a really unpretentious way while simultaneously telling the story of these characters who believe that they should be in these relationships that have somehow gone sour, or these people don't realize what they're missing. And it's so good and clever in the way that it does that, because it doesn't throw at you like, oh, I'm searching for my purpose and I'm only going to find it in this relationship or whatever, but it really tries its hardest to tell a lot of stories at once without being jumbled, and just making sure that each element serves other elements within the film to make it a really cohesive and well written and tied together and tight-knit story. There you go. I think this film also does one of the greatest jobs in a movie I've seen recently in including modernity. Like, there's a lot of movies that I feel like are timed or aged due to their heavy reliance on the most modern and up-to-date technology. I mean, if you watch any rom-coms from like 2008 to 2012, you'll usually see the business character with a BlackBerry, and now I don't know a single person that owns a BlackBerry beyond the one in their drawer from 10 years ago. And this movie does a really great job of using social media, dating apps, technology, everything that's a part of our normal life now in a way that serves the story. There's a montage sequence in this film where you see a lot of exposition. Instead of using those things to say like, I'm specifically using this app or make a joke about this piece of technology or this, specific dating website, this movie does it in a very general sense to see kind of almost as a snapshot of just what modern life is like and what real people would do. If you're really upset that your ex left you, of course you're going to stalk them on Instagram. Of course you're going to want to see what they're up to with their new lover or romantic interest. And so kind of seeing that through the eyes of the characters, again, it serves the story. And I'm just repeating myself, I sound like a broken record, but I think what's best about this movie is that they write real people, and this movie doesn't try to make villains out of anyone. It tries to really craft real people who feel like they're three-dimensional, that you would meet in real life. They have jobs and interests and flaws and regrets, and they have all of these aspects to them that just nobody feels like the bombshell new girlfriend or the really hot new boyfriend. It just feels very realistic. The way it approaches relationships is not from this heightened surrealist view that a lot of romantic comedies or romance movies can take. It doesn't make anything dramatic that isn't already dramatic, but it really just tries to pull out all of the comedy from any of the more heartbreaking or lower moments for any of the characters. I could go on and on about this movie for such a long time, but the specificity in the subplots, the way that it is written to make these characters feel real and to subvert some of the romantic comedy tropes that actually keep you invested in the movie and don't make you feel like, okay, at the 60-minute mark, this is happening. At the third act break, this is happening. You feel like there's enough fresh about this movie, yet it feels familiar because of the way that the creators, the cast, the crew have all analyzed the greats of romantic comedies past and tried their best to incorporate that into this movie without being a copy pasta, if that makes any sense. I also really want to include that the cast and crew felt it was really important that they wanted this film to be enjoyable by both men and women, and I think both in the way that this film is broken up, the comedy that is used in this film, and just the experiences of each of the different characters and what they go through, I think you will find somebody to relate to in this movie no matter who you are. Again, it's objectively funny, and I think it's objectively sweet in all the places that it's supposed to be. And again, I'm a lover of romantic comedies, so you are going to have to take what I say with a grain of salt. But this one, I'm telling you, is really something special, and I think it's going to be remembered for a good amount of time if enough people go see it. So I urge you, please, when this comes out tomorrow, you're seeing this the day before it releases, on Amazon Prime, please go watch it. And if you're a comedy fan, a fan of anyone in the crew or cast, you're going to really, really enjoy this film. That is my review of I Want You Back. I apologize if it was redundant or at all I sound like a broken record. I really just love this movie and I would love to talk to you guys more about it. So please leave below your expectations for the film, if you're planning to watch it, or what you've thought about it after you've seen it. I would love to read and respond and chat with you guys there. Please also be sure to like this video and consider subscribing if you like film reviews or just any sort of video essays or entertainment related content. Thank you again for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day, and I will see you in my very next video. Bye, y'all.